So far, we have seen that some photos of Siya were edited and wrongly combined with someone else and posted on the college group. As a result, everyone was speaking ill of her. Indeed, 4 girls had come to bully her. Siya had put them in their place, and the way she did it, poor things, their faces looked like the rotis I made. Seeing all this, the teacher got very angry. Therefore, she thought of taking all of them directly to the principal and took them along. As she was about to leave quietly, Prince offered to help her, but Siya refused him. At that moment, in the principal's office, the principal was having a meeting with many people. They were talking among themselves when suddenly a peon came in and said, "Sir, I need to tell you something important." As he entered, the principal asked what happened, and he said, "Sir, some first-year students have gotten into a fight. During this, Miss Siya, who is a new student, has beaten up 4 girls very badly. That's why the class teacher has brought them all here to resolve the matter." Seeing and hearing this, the principal politely said to everyone sitting in front, "Sorry, gentlemen, but I have to leave. Anyway, our meeting is over, so may I go?" Hearing this, everyone sitting in front nodded in agreement. These were some shareholders, trustees, and investors of the college who were discussing something there. But after hearing the matter, they asked the principal to explain it to them and left. However, one person among them did not leave and stayed there. The principal did not say anything to him, so that person went to him and asked him to resolve the matter. The principal then got up and went to another room. In fact, the principal's office had 2 parts. One was the principal's cabin, and the other was the meeting hall, which were connected to each other. Therefore, the principal left the meeting hall and came to his cabin, where the teacher and the 5 students were standing. The principal sat down in his place and asked the teacher to explain the whole matter. The teacher, in anger, was complaining about Siya and showing the injuries and finger marks on the faces of the 4 girls, speaking ill of her. Without knowing what had happened, they had directly placed all the blame on Siya. Through all this, Siya was not affected at all. She was still standing there, completely calm and expressionless. When the principal saw Siya in such a state, he momentarily remembered humanity, but he controlled his emotions. Looking at Siya, he said, "Miss Siya, would you like to say something in your defense?" Hearing this, Siya glanced at the 4 of them and the teacher, and then, very calmly, explained everything from the beginning to the end, and then fell silent. After hearing the whole story, the teacher angrily said to Siya, "Students like you are tarnishing our school's name. If you were having a problem with all this, you should have come to the teacher, not resorted to violence. Look at what has happened to these girls' faces because of you. If any of their parents file a complaint, do you know what effect this will have on the school and its reputation?" Siya looked at her and said in a cold tone, "You are so concerned about the school's reputation and their faces, but what about the damage to my reputation caused by the rumors spreading in the school because of them? What about my character harassment? They were the ones who attacked me first. I did not hit them first. When they attacked me, I hit them in self-defense. So how can you all place the blame for all the mistakes solely on me?" And first of all, why are you even speaking in this matter when you don't even know the whole situation properly? By what right are you speaking in between? Is it possible that you think they are some special students? Hearing special students, the teacher was a bit shocked, because Siya knew that this teacher was not a kind-hearted teacher. She always favored the children of wealthy families and treated them very well. For instance, giving them good grades and marks without doing anything, hiding all the bad things they did. If she did something wrong to any student, she would scold the other student to calm them down. And for all this, the families of the rich children always gave her something. That's why the teacher had become so biased that she was still doing the same out of habit. Listening to her words, the teacher's mind heated up, and she almost shouted at Siya, "How dare you respond to me like that? What do you think you are? You came to such a big school from an orphanage just like that. I don't know why you were admitted here." Then after thinking for a moment, she said, "Oh, now I understand. You do all this so that you can live this luxurious life. Otherwise, as far as I know, you don't have parents." As soon as the teacher said this, with a loud bang, the door of the meeting room opened and someone came in. Seeing him, everyone standing there was shocked. Even Siya. Who had come into the meeting room that shocked Siya? And would the person who came help Siya, or would Siya do something to save herself without anyone's help? So far, we have seen that the girls who came to bully Siya or beat her up were the reason she was taken to the principal's office. When Siya starts to explain herself, the class teacher begins to insult her greatly. This makes Siya very angry, and just before she could do or say anything, the door of the meeting room connected to the principal's office opens with a loud noise. A man, dressed in a business suit, steps out. At that moment, he looked very intimidating. Seeing him, the principal stood up from his place. No one was saying anything. Everyone's gaze was fixed on that boy. He walks in and stands near the principal's table, looking at everyone with his piercing eyes. Seeing him, the principal stands up and says, with great respect, "Mr. Adhik, please give me a moment. I will handle this matter right away." Saying this, he looks at the students with the intention of saying something. But Adhik stops him with a hand gesture and looks at the teacher. In a calm yet angry voice, he says, "I thought this university was the best university here, and the teachers were the best too. But today, my misunderstanding has been cleared." He was looking at the teacher who had been saying all sorts of things to Siya a while ago. Hearing Adhik's words, the teacher was left speechless. She didn't know what to do. She quickly composed herself and then, with great shamelessness, looked at Siya and said to Adhik, "Mr. Adhik, I think you have misunderstood something. There is nothing like that. And I spoke to this girl that way because she was behaving inappropriately. This is her second day here, and on the very second day, she started fighting. And when I asked her the reason behind it, she answered me back, disrespecting me. That's why I spoke to her like that. Otherwise, you can ask anyone. I never speak to anyone like this." Hearing her, Adik smiles sarcastically and says, "She is a student, but you are a teacher, right? And no matter how angry you are, you should never insult your student. After all, you know how much she is going through and how you linked this matter with her family. You linked it, but such cheap words from a teacher's mouth do not sound good. The principal was very intelligent. He understood the whole matter and then looked at Atik and said, 'I understand what you are saying, Mr. Atik, and I completely agree with you. And for this, we should not have scolded Ms. Verma, but you came.' Then he looks at Siya and says, 'Ms. Siya, you will tell us the whole matter clearly. After all, where did this all start?' To which Siya just glances at Adik and looks at the principal and says, 'Sir, what I said earlier is the same. When I came to college, someone edited my photos inappropriately and posted them on the college group. As a result, all the students changed their perspective about me. But when I went to my class, these 4 girls misbehaved with me and tried to hit me. So I just hit them in self-defense. After understanding the whole matter, the principal opens that group and looks at the comments and photos that were probably happening there. He started feeling scared inside. He was trembling inside, crying, banging his head against the wall. Why hadn't he paid attention to these things? He could only see his bad time ahead, which was about to come quickly. Hearing his words and standing next to the principal, Adik had seen all the photos and comments. Hearing such cheap things about Siya made him very angry. He almost shouted in anger, "Who tried to do all this to my sister? Who had the audacity to spread such rumors about Siya?" Hearing Adik's words, the 4 girls, the teacher, and the principal were all in shock. How does he know Siya? And what does it mean to say such things? But just now, Adik had called Siya his sister. But according to the records and registers, she was either an orphan. Hearing this, the teacher says, "Mr. Adik, what are you saying? How is this girl your sister? I think there is some misunderstanding." Before Adik could say anything or explain, Siya interjects, "I also think Mr. Adik has some misunderstanding." Then he looks at the principal and says, "How are you going to handle this matter?" Hearing this, the principal says, "We will find out whoever is behind this as soon as possible, and we will definitely punish them. You don't worry." Siya pauses and points a finger at the teacher and the 4 students, saying, "And what? About all of them?" Hearing this, the principal asks, "What do you mean?" Toshi, in her cold voice, says, "What I mean is that these 4 tried to hit me, and this teacher without knowing my side, blamed everything on me and insulted me so much. Do you think I will let this go just like that? Just then, Tina, who had been watching all this, yells at Siya, "Who do you think you are?" to get us punished. And the truth is the truth. Stop making false excuses. After all, where would an orphan girl like you get such an expensive car and clothes? No, these things must be true. That's why you're having so much trouble with all this. Hearing her, Siya brings one hand to her ear and takes a deep breath with her eyes closed. Suddenly, she opens her eyes and, without caring for that girl, slaps her back hard. This time, the slap was so powerful that it fell straight onto the principal's table. Everything on the table fell down. This shocked everyone. Then everyone's attention went to the boy's face, whose cheeks were swollen and there were visible blue-black marks from fingers. Then she looks at the principal and says in her cold voice, "I had heard that this college is the best college. Here, students are taught everything very well, whether it is studies or about life. Everything is taught. Is this what is taught in your university?" And then, looking at those girls, she asks in her cold voice, "Who told you to do all this? I will just ask once. If you give a direct answer, fine. Otherwise." Hearing her, one of the three girls gets furious. Ria, angrily addressing Siya, says, "Who do you think you are? You are openly hitting us. Your audacity has grown so much that you hit my friend in front of the principal, and now you are threatening her in front of them. I am telling you, my dad is the mayor of this city, and now I will see how you stay in this college. Regini was right. You are a cheap, characterless, rude girl who only knows how to jump on others' power. When you are thrown out of this college, I will enjoy seeing your face." Hearing her, everyone standing there is shocked. The principal was on the verge of tears after hearing that girl's threat. Now the principal didn't know what to do. Meanwhile, everyone standing there was completely silent. Siya looks at her and says, "Regini? Who is Regini? I don't know any Regini. Who are you talking about?"